This is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow for Expansions.com. Stewart is still traveling overseas, so guess what? You have me again. So all of those of you who write in and say how much you miss Stewart, yes, I miss him too, but for now you have me. So with that said, we want to move forward into some of the interesting and fascinating things that I have found out for you. As you know, I like to look at the trends and help keep you mindful of what's going on in your world so that you too can spot the trends and understand what is legitimate information, hopefully, and you can discern what is leading you down the primrose path. So, the first topic, which has been really out there, is the one of legitimate rape, which I spoke about last week. And I have had people write in and say that they've heard that term more often these days, and why I don't know. I personally am not hearing it that much, but if this is going to be a trend, and again, when we think about New World religion, that's highly possible. So now we have Brian Fisher of the American Family Association, which is a conservative Christian group, saying that Representative Todd Akin, Republican Missouri, was absolutely right, that's a quote, to claim that women cannot become pregnant from, quote, legitimate rape. The host of the talk radio show Focal Point said that the trauma from a, quote, real, genuine rape, a case of forcible rape, would make it difficult for a woman to conceive a child. The right-wing watch notes. And Fisher goes on to say, quote, there's a very delicate and complex mix of hormones that take place that are released in a woman's body. And if that gets interfered with, it may make it impossible for her or difficult in that particular circumstance to conceive a child. That's unquote. So let's see if we hear this term, legitimate rape, coming out more and more in the public eye, because as I believe, and I'm sure most of you out there watching this, there is no such thing as a legitimate rape. It's an oxymoron. Doesn't work for me. All right. On another note, the Vatican. Vatican's always got interesting things going on. For some odd reason, now you tell me how odd this is because we're watching the trends, of course, they have put their support behind the sale of a bald Barbie. Now, the bald Barbie is a doll designed supposedly to help children who have lost their hair due to chemotherapy or illness. Now, why would the Vatican necessarily need to put out this particular idea? Well, because they are behind the New World religion, and of course part of that is going to be about androgyny. And bald has to do with we can't tell if they're male or if they are female. And by the way, I did manage to watch on the pay-per-view on the television the Hunger Games, which some of you may have read the book or seen that movie. And I did read the book series because the Hunger Games is being promoted by schools. They are actually encouraging the children to read. It's required reading in some schools, and some school classes actually went and saw the movie. And I had people tell me the movie wasn't that bad. The movie was that bad. So the reason I'm bringing this back to the Vatican is because New World religion is going to involve human sacrifice and a lot of things, and you're going to watch and find out the Vatican is going to be making a lot of changes over the next 2 or 3 years as things are kind of implemented. So that's bald Barbie, we've got androgyny, we don't want to forget the Hunger Games. It's out there and it's coming your way, so just be mindful. Now, again, going to the Vatican or the Catholic Church, this article kind of surprised me. The article itself was not really that, big. It has to do with the Archdiocese of New Orleans transforming a vacant church rectory into a group house where single women can live together while deciding whether to undertake lives as nuns. Now, those of you who know English, we spell nun, the religious nun, N-U-N, and of course, in English, nun meaning a zero or nothing is N-O-N-E, so to me, I believe it is a play on words. What made this article particularly interesting to me was when I was scrolling down through it, they had a picture of the women who are contemplating taking their lives as nuns with their arms put out in what I think is the Nazi salute. Now, they say it's to receive blessings. It looks to me like the Nazi salute. So that's why I'm tying that back into the Vatican for you. Moving right along, we have savior programming. I've been reporting this to you here recently. I told you about some people last week who were famous celebrities who were saving people. And guess what? Last week I reported on Prince William. Prince William saved more people this week. It says in the article, days after he rescued drowning teenagers off the coast of Anglesey, the future King of England piloted a helicopter to save an injured Canadian tourist who was hiking with her husband on a cliff by the shore. And, you know, savior programming apparently, and we wrote about this actually quite a bit on the site, and actually in my blog when we talked about family, and you waiting for somebody to save you. You want to remember the people are waiting for the UFOs to save them. They're going to win the lottery because that's going to save them. When you're a child, your parents are supposed to save you. Jesus Christ is supposed to save you. Savior programming is really big. It's bigger than what most people think, and that's one thing that makes you, or helps to keep you a victim, because you can't help yourself. You're always waiting for someone to save you. So the antithesis of that, we have Prince Harry, who of course, I'm sure most of you have seen the pictures. It's all over the world right now about his little romp in Las Vegas. Now, a couple different positions. One thing is that when you have somebody that's really, really good, like Prince Charles, and somebody who's being portrayed as really, really bad, like Prince Harry, it's like chocolate and vanilla ice cream together. If you eat the chocolate, it's delicious, but it's even more pronounced if you have vanilla to go alongside of it, and vice versa. So, if they can portray Prince Harry to kind of be the rebel, then Prince Charles supposedly looks better. And remember, Prince Harry has been in a lot of romps through his time period. We saw him with the Nazi swastika on one of his outings on his arm at one time. So there have been a lot of different things that you can follow with Prince Harry. In fact, a lot of people say that he's not even Prince Charles's son. So, as we're moving along here and understanding what they're doing and how they're portraying the royals, they are elevating Prince Charles while they are taking Prince Harry down. Now, interesting thing too, when I was reading some of what supposedly some of the royal palace people who are sanctioned by the royal palace were saying, they were more concerned about the fact that his security people did not confiscate all the cell phones versus what actually happened in the Las Vegas suite. So, you know, they're not focusing on his antics as much as they are saying the security people should have pulled out the cell phones. And again, it's a subtle little thing there, but if you listen to that, they're telling you this is okay. And of course, this takes place behind the scenes in many, many of the global handlers, their environments and their world. So, and also noticing on AOL, on Huffington Post, there has been a story that hasn't gone away. I haven't read the story, but I have been noticing that it hasn't gone away. It's about a married couple who are swingers, and they're saying how wonderful it is. And so that's what the headlines are telling me. So I'm assuming if you go into the article, it tells you the details. But again, the point is, the group sex is okay, being naked is okay. You know, you just don't want it splashed all over. The internet is kind of not okay, but the more it's splashed, the less effect it has on you. So that, again, all of this is the imprinting, and that's really what we're studying and we're observing. Now, another little aspect of this little drama I want to point out to you. Again, we're going back, if Prince Harry is the rebel, then that makes Prince, I think I said Prince Charles, but I meant Prince William, of course, his brother, make him look even better. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about Jimmy Carter. Do you remember he had a brother, Billy Carter, who was also portrayed to be a buffoon? And so they actually had a beer named after him, Billy Beer, I believe. And I believe he's since passed on. But that was kind of out there for the American public. And following that, we have, I don't like to call him President Obama because I have issues with him, but Obama has several half-brothers and sisters. In fact, he has 11 half-brothers and sisters, according to the report that I found. Now, George Obama, who is the half-brother of U.S. President Barack Obama, it said was arrested by Kenyan police on a charge of possession of marijuana. This was back in 2009, I believe. Then we had Another half-brother, this one's named Samson. He was arrested in 2009 in England for apparently an accusation of attempted sexual assault on a teenager and receiving a caution for public order offense back in 2009. 2011, Obama had an uncle, Onyango, who was arrested in Massachusetts on charges of drunk driving, and he said, when he was arrested, I'd like to call the White House. But apparently he wasn't able to reach his uncle, or his nephew, I guess it is. So anyway, we want to take a look at this because these people who are supposedly our leaders, all around them, you know, they're creating drama, and all of this is for distraction so that you don't really see what's going on, and that's the point. Let's distract you, let's play up some of these other buffoons, and therefore you won't really know what's going on. So they're just kind of patting you on the back and treating you like you're, you know, 12 years old and you're enjoying the drama. So look at all of this and pay attention, because this will tell you what not to look at and to be sure and look in other directions. Okay, next up we have a universal vaccine for those of you who don't want to get your yearly flu shot. It said in the article that researchers in the US and Canada are testing a vaccine that can protect people from influenza for their entire lives, eliminating the need for annual flu shots. This one was what I thought was, you know, very telling. Not only can they protect you against all known influenza strains from the past 100 years, they can also protect you against future strains. Now, how do they know what those future strains are going to be? It says, once you receive that vaccine, this is a quote, "That is why we hope you will not need another shot every year like is currently the case. This is why we tied the universal word up on this vaccine," unquote, said Dr. Gary Kobinger, who heads the special pathogen program at the National Virology Lab in Winnipeg. Then there were some comments at the bottom of this article, and a couple of them I'm sure some of you are going to relate to, but this one particularly, this person wrote in and said, "I will never get a flu shot again. I nearly died in 2009 from receiving an H1N1 flu shot that contained live virus instead of dead virus. There was a mix-up between the live virus used in the nasal mist and the dead virus used in the syringes. They were rushing the process so much that live virus was put in the syringes. I was on a ventilator for 3 weeks and spent a total of 6 weeks in ICU. In addition to that, virus had mutated in my body. At the first hospital they took me to, they thought I had anthrax. At the second hospital, they had to bring in the CDC to determine that it was indeed H1N1. I spent another 2 weeks in an acute care nursing care facility learning to walk again. I will take my chances and not get a flu shot." And interestingly enough, I have heard from many people through the years who have gotten that flu shot and gotten sick. And some people said, oh, you didn't get it in time, or you were already sick, all kinds of things. But a lot of people get the flu shot and wind up already sick. And then another person wrote in and said, by the way, I used to get a yearly flu shot, but since I stopped getting them 10 years ago, my health has actually been better. So think about it before you run out and get the universal vaccine or any other flu shot. All right, palm vein scanner. Is this the mark of the beast? In Moss Bluff Elementary School in Louisiana, they want to streamline their lunch payments by implementing a palm vein scanner program. But however, parents aren't pleased. I suppose by putting it in at elementary school, they're looking at younger parents and maybe figuring these parents would be more acceptable of this type of a program, but obviously not. As one mother says, as a Christian, I've read the Bible, you know, I go to church and stuff. I know where it's going to end up coming to, the mark of the beast. I'm not going to let my kids have that. In fact, I may transfer them to another school, unquote. So palm vein scanner, all kinds of things coming up into your life. Doppelgangers. I mentioned that last week about the 2012 athletes and their celebrity doppelgangers. And as you recall, a doppelganger is an energetic imprint of a person. For example, you might see me sitting here when I'm in another room of the house, and because this is an imprint of leftover from my energy field sitting here. And I've told you in this house, however, that it's common we have seen them, and we've talked about them on our paranormal DVD series. We talk about doppelgangers and other paranormal activity. Well, in the general news, we generally don't hear that word, and again, most people don't know what that is. So last week I told you it was in reference to the 2012 Olympics and athletes. This week I found it on doppelganger dating, And again, they don't really talk about that in the article. We went through this last week too when I told you about the intersex babies was in the heading, but they didn't really address it in the article. This time, doppelganger dating, they don't exactly use that word in their reporting, they just have it on the title. So the reporting doppelganger dating has to do with looking people like yourself or previous people who you've dated apparently. And then also Enrique Iglesias fan was a doppelganger. So now we're seeing that according to our to the celebrities. So instead of a fan look-alike, now Enrique Iglesias is meeting his doppelganger backstage. So that was also another headline. So be in lookout for that. I know you would be disappointed if I didn't keep you abreast of the news. And many of you probably, I'm sure all of you, of course, were aware that Sunday, August 26th, was Go Topless Day. And this was promoted as a great excuse for men to wear bikinis and gals to go shirtless. That was the title of it. And of course, who was promoting this? This was the Rebellion, who is a group of UFO believers. So they're getting everything in at once. Topless, UFO believers, and also these were the people who caused supposedly a furor with their swastika rehabilitation day. I reported on that to you too, and an airplane flew over carrying the swastika, amongst other things. So they were trying to remove the Nazi stigma. So we have Nazis, we have swastika, we have UFO, we have topless, all in one article. So all of that is being put out to imprint you. And beyond that, how many have you seen the new Toyota ad that's out there? Apparently it has over 650,000 views on YouTube already. This one is advertising the company's brand new 2013 Urus hatchback, complete with a topless model. That's right, a topless model, but not just any topless model. This is a topless androgynous model, who I reported on about before. Stav Strashko, who's a 19-year-old male model born in the Ukraine and raised in Israel for the role. Now I thought this was interesting. He was born in the Ukraine, and the article says he was raised in Israel for the role, which means this person was particularly brought up to play this particular role of being a male androgynous model. And I want to emphasize that because I've also talked about Angelina Jolie Pitt's daughter, and I cannot think of her name at the moment, but I've had it all over this news, so I'm sure you can easily find that, who also I believe is being raised to be androgynous. She prefers to be called by various male names, and they've all kinds of things. They dress her like a boy, and pretty obvious she's got heavy programming going on. But anyway, Strashko, back to Toyota, has a distinctly androgynous appearance and has modeled women's clothing in the past. He says he gets mistaken for a female fairly often because he believes the, quote, the mind sees what it wants. And interestingly enough, here we go, you know, it's coming, people, as I keep telling you, and they are imprinting you continually. Puppet people. Now this was another thing that I haven't seen in the news for a long time, but not too long ago I did not report on this story, but I did make note of it, that there was a man arrested in Florida who was a puppeteer at children's parties. Turned out to be, of course, surprise, surprise, a pedophile. Now there was a dating scenario that was a replay on one of the videos on AOL. And on this dating video, someone went to the bathroom, and when they came back, this beautiful, gorgeous woman had pulled out a puppet and was entertaining the entire restaurant, and this person was so humiliated and embarrassed. Now, we've seen puppets a lot in the news. We've seen Sesame Street, lots of children's shows, of course, with puppets. But now we're moving, and we saw ventriloquists for a while. That kind of went out of vogue, but they're kind of bringing them back in, but kind of on the verge of things. And why puppets? Puppets have to do with altars and representing not two people, but one. In fact, in this particular news piece, the man talked about how this woman was interacting with a puppet, and he felt like he was on a date with two people and not one, and how embarrassing it was. So they're telling you about altars, right there in front of your face. And those of you who are reading our Unraveling of the Male Monarch in the silver membership level on expansions.com, you will know that Rupert, which is not his real name, was also fascinated with puppets and had puppets. And he has a lot of programming issues that he has worked through and is working through and doing fabulous, fabulous work. So if you're interested in programming, deprogramming work, you will definitely want to be a member of our silver level on expansions.com, and you're going to find out some more things about puppets as well. UFOs, of course, leading into that. Everybody always wants to know about UFOs. UFOs on Mars. That has been a big topic in the news. And I want to read you from this article. It says, NASA's Curiosity rover had hardly touched down on the surface of Mars on August 5th when its camera started transmitting images back to Earth of odd things. And some, of course, are calling it UFOs. Now, there was a dust storm in the distance, but then 45 minutes later, when another image was snapped, there wasn't a dust storm. So they're saying, well, perhaps it was, maybe it wasn't. And lots of quotes. Quote, if you look at the left image, we believe we've caught what is the descent impact on the Martian surface, unquote. This was by a NASA engineer named Stephen Sell. The descent stage would have already impacted by the time this picture was taken, he continued. But the evidence we have that this is something we caused is the fact that the same image from the same camera taken 45 minutes later, that artifact is not there anymore, unquote. Then the images showed white-colored objects moving near the horizon of the red planet. And then there was another one that said that there was a solid circular object just sitting quite a distance away from the rover. So again, you can go up online, you can look these up, and a lot of people are debating whether or not there are UFOs on Mars. Let's see, and I have one more article somehow. Passed over, but I know it's here. Here we go. Okay, and this topic always, well, I have a couple actually topics I want to finish up with, but this one always brings in a lot of, I'm going to say negative comments, because I'm not a vegetarian. I tried it for a while. It's not my cup of tea. I've studied it for a long time. And so I know a lot about vegetarianism. I'm not going to turn vegetarianism to be a vegetarian, so don't write in saying I should be, because I'm not going to be, but I know you'll still write your comments. But the reason that they are trying to turn you vegetarian right now, and I say they meaning global handlers, is because that's a way of weakening your body. And yes, I know many of you are going to write in and say I know a lot of strong vegetarians, but I'm going to tell you the same thing that I tell the people who write in about the marijuana. That's the second controversial topic I'm going to end with. But both of those topics, vegetarian and marijuana users, I will never be able to convince you, and that's not my goal, nor Stewart's. We're not here to convince anybody of anything. All we do is share what we know and what we see. If somebody doesn't agree with you, most likely you will never ever convince them. It has to come from within them. So I'm only sharing what I know. If you want to know what I know, then I suggest that you come and take my workshops and you take my seminars and you learn how to see energy fields for yourself. Because that is what Stewart and I base our information on, is by seeing the energy fields. Now, a lot of people consider us experts until they don't like what we have to say, and then we're no longer experts. And this happens time and time again. So if you don't like what I have to say, then that's obviously your choice. However, if you're listening to me because you perceive me as an expert and you think I know what I'm talking about on other things, then I'm going to ask you to at least consider what I'm saying. And if you can't consider what I'm saying, then come to a seminar, workshop, learn to see energy fields for yourself. That's what we teach you. We are having our seminar in September on pyramids, which is going to be absolutely amazing. I talked to you about that last time. Professor Osmanagic from Bosnia will be here to talk about pyramids. We have Deborah Wyndham, who is going to be doing a concert for us, a small concert. We have the producer of Montauk Chronicles movies, which will be here in St. Joseph, and we're going to be teaching you, yes, teaching you about energy fields and what you can do to enhance what you're already doing and to make it stronger, better, safer, and also to to learn to see these and do these things for yourself. And in January, we have another immersion week coming up where again you have a chance to learn to do what we do. And then once you see the energy fields, then you can have a chat with me and then I'll listen to you. But in the meantime, I'm listening to what I know and what I see. So marijuana, which they're putting out for you, they're making you fight for your right for it. But what it will do is it will decrease sperm count. It will, in fact, I saw a study, not a legitimate, what is the word? What you would, a conventional study that says that people who smoke marijuana under the age of 18, it does decrease their IQ. And that's because when they do make it legal and for everybody, it will be like cigarettes and they will say you have to be 18 to smoke it. So you have a lot of issues if that you choose that. And yes, it may have medicinal uses, just like morphine has medicinal uses, but you don't want to use that on an everyday basis just for pleasure, just because you can. And even though they're giving out medical marijuana cards, most people who are taking those cards are doing it just because they can. So if you have a pain in your shoulder, you have this or you have that, why bother to fix it when you can put something else into your mouth and, you know, kind of make it go away for the second. So the same thing is I'm going to tell you with your vegetarian diet. For healing purposes, for a short period of time, or for a limited period of time, depending upon your body structure, a vegetarian diet can be very helpful and useful. However, over a long period of time, it does affect your energy field and it does affect your bone structure and how your internal organs function. So that's what I know. If you can't see energy fields, then don't write in and tell me what you know, because I'm not going to pay any attention, but of course other people might listen to you so you can do whatever you want, which I know you will anyway. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that a group of leading water scientists from around the world believe the world's population will have completely switched to a vegetarian diet by the year 2050 because of food shortages. They say that right now approximately people get approximately 20% of their protein from animal-based products and foods, but scientists say, or they actually are warning you, that the consumption number will drop down to 5% to feed an extra 2 billion people who are expected to be alive. And I'm going to quote, "There will not be enough water available on current croplands to produce food for the expected 9 billion population in 2050 if we follow current trends and changes towards diet common in Western nations," unquote. Now, what they're telling you to do is that therefore you should go ahead and start using more vegetarian recipes so that you can begin to change your diet over. So this is only the year 2013, but by 2050 you want to have this implemented. And I see a lot of this. Have a meatless Monday, you know, twice a week don't eat meat, and some people saying, oh, you know, I'm not eating red meat anymore, only the white meat, only fish, only chicken, only fowl, that kind of thing. Your body does need the red meat, especially females who are menstruating, and you are losing blood on a regular basis once a month. Your iron levels are low. I see this all the time, especially in younger women. Low iron levels. They're very anemic as a general rule. The bones are weak. I don't care what the CAT scans say that you go see your doctor, but I know what I see energetically. So there's a lot of things that are happening. Again, a lot of this, we're turning men, they're not the big muscle builders anymore. They're getting very small and thin and weak looking, and the girls are not becoming very feminine either. So I want you to think about what's happening to your food. I hope you're watching my podcast, because my podcast, I am teaching you about what goes into your mind is represented by what you put into your mouth. And this is exactly why they are trying to make you weak. If they can't get into your mind, then they're trying to get into your body. They're trying to anchor the non-physical mind patterns into the body, and they want you to be weak on every single level so they can control not only your mind but your body and make you do whatever it is that they want you to do. So you can go along with the program, or you can have your own mind, you can learn about your own body, and you can do what is important for you. In fact, tonight, it may be too late by the time this is posted, I am starting a webinar called Creating Your Ideal Weight. However, there will be another one next week, Creating Your Ideal Weight, where we will be looking at your body and the mind patterns that are used to create the body shape that you have, so that you can create the body that you want and that supports you in the way that you need to have it supported. So lots of things going on at expansions.com. We are never dull and boring, and as I continue to tell you, the main part of our work does go on behind the scenes in the member level section. If you're not a member, I encourage you to do so. We have webinars posted there, we have our deprogramming journal, we have affirmations, we have a monthly blog. In August, we are working on family matters, and we are digging because your family is a reflection of you, and if you understand your family, you are going to understand exactly how you created your life and how you are responsible for being here. And in September, I'm going to start another fascinating and in-depth topic on the blogs, but I'm not going to tell you at this time what it's going to be. But I will encourage you to get your membership if you're interested in working on hyperspace over soul level work. Lots of things going on in September, of course, our big 10th annual fall conference. Stewart's taking a group of people to Russia, and of course September 2nd and 4th through the 4th he will be in Ireland. So if you're in Ireland and want to see him, please let Patricia events@expansions.com know so she can help you get to see him wherever it is that he will be. And lots of things going on, so you want to be sure and tune in here on our YouTube channel, on our website expansions.com. Come to our seminars. There's so much going on out there, so much to wade through, and that's why it's important that you develop your own discerning skills, that you develop your own internal healing capacities, your own protection techniques, everything that you need, we can offer to you here at expansions.com. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to speaking with you, seeing you, hearing from you, however it is. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful life, but most important, have a wonderful mind and stay in control of it. Bye-bye.